Hello, this is my English speaking practice, and I'm talking about my tech study. I continue with this. It's for system design interview, and I'm reading the key technologies, and it's about blob storage. What is blob storage and when should you use it? Sometimes you will need to store large unstructured blobs of data. This could be images, videos, or other files. Storing these large blobs in a traditional database is both expensive and inefficient and should be avoided when possible. Instead, you should use blob storage service like Amazon S3 or Google Cloud Storage. These platforms are specifically designed for handling large blobs of data and are much more cost-effective than a traditional database. Blob storage services are simple. You can upload a blob of data and that data is stored and get back a URL. You can then use this URL to download. You can then use this URL to download the blob of data. Oftentimes, blob storage services work in conjunction with CDNs, so you can get fast downloads from anywhere in the world. Upload a file blob to blob storage, which will act as your origin, and then use a CDN to cache the file blob in edge locations around the world. Avoiding using blob storage like S3 as your primary database unless you have a very good reason. In a typical setup, you will have a core database like Postgres or DynamoDB that has pointers, just your URL, to the blob stored in S3. This allows you to use the database to query and index the data with very low latency, while still getting the benefits of cheap blob storage. Here are some common examples of when to use blob storage. Design YouTube. Store videos in blob storage. Store metadata in a database. Design Instagram. Store images and videos in blob storage. Store metadata in a database. Design Dropbox. Store files in blob storage. Store metadata in a database. A very common setup when dealing with large binary artifacts looks like this. Client server and client get CDN. Get the data from CDN, and it uses pre-assigned uploads to blob storage. And core database have a URL that points the blob storage, points to resource in S3, and caches frequently accessed resources close to user and stores blobs like media, files, etc. So to upload, when clients want to upload a file, they request a pre-assigned URL from the server. The server returns a pre-assigned URL to the client, recording it in the database. The client uploads a file to the pre-assigned URL. The blob storage triggers a notification to the server that the upload is complete and the status is updated. So request to server, and the server returns the pre-assigned URL. And at the same time, server records it in the database, and the client uploads the file to the pre-assigned URL, so the client can use the URL to upload the S3. That makes sense. And the blob storage can trigger a notification when the upload is completed. To download, the client requests a specific file from the server and return the pre-signed URL. The client uses a pre-signed URL to download the file via the CDN, which proxies this request to the underlying blob storage. Things you should know about blob storage durability. Blob storage services are designed to be incredibly durable. They use techniques like replication and erasure coding to ensure that your data is safe even if a disk or server fails. Scalability. Hosted blob storage solutions like AWS3 can be considered infinitely scalable. They can store an unlimited amount of data and can handle an unlimited number of requests, obviously within the limits of your account. As a result, in your interview, you don't need to explicitly consider the scalability of blob storage services. Consider this as a given. Okay. Cost. Blob storage services are designed to be cost-effective. They are much cheaper than storing large blobs of data in a traditional database. For example, AWS3 charges $0.023 per gigabyte per month for the first 50 terabytes of storage. This is much cheaper than storing the same data in a database like DynamoDB, which charges $1.25 per gigabyte per month for the first 10 terabytes of storage. Security. Blob storage services have built-in security features like encryption at rest and in transit. They also have access control features that allow you to control who can access your data. Upload and download directly from the client. Blob storage services allow you to upload and download blobs directly from the client. This is useful for applications that need to store and retrieve large blobs of data like images or videos. Familiarize yourself with pre-signed URLs and how they can be used to grant temporary access to a blob, either for upload or download. Chunking. When uploading large files, it's common to use chunking to upload the file in smaller pieces. This allows you to resume an upload if it fails partway through, and it also allows you to upload the file in parallel. This is especially useful for large files where uploading the entire file at once might take a long time. Modern blob storage services like S3 support chunking out of the box via the multi-part upload API. Examples of blob storage services. The most popular blob storage services are Amazon S3, Google Cloud Storage, and Azure Blob. All of these services are designed to be fast, durable, and cost-effective. They also have a range of features like versioning, lifecycle policies, and access control. They are used by companies like Netflix, Airbnb, and Spotify to store large blobs of data like images, videos, and files. If you don't have experience with them, opt for S3 as it's the most popular and widely understood by interviewers. Even non-S3 platforms often have an S3 compatible API. Okay, Hmm. Let me stop here. So of course I'm continuing to learn this page, but I want to organize what I learned and what I've learned and my experiences, because I needed to explain something to interviewers. So so I focus on training for interview, yeah, rather than just speaking English, yeah, because it's a fastest, I think it's a fastest way to achieve my purpose, yeah. So of course it's important to improve my English skills or daily conversations, but yeah, my main goal is to pass the interview. So I think I should focus on it. Yeah. So, yes. So so just learning about technology is not effective. So I want to associate knowledge with my experience, and I want to explain my experience and with technology, with technical background. Okay. So I have 6 years of experience as a web developer, and yeah, so and I have some stories. I have some stories, but if I'm asked to explain my experience at work, I cannot explain them. I cannot explain them effectively. So to speak in my words, I will I'm gonna talk about my experience, and I'm gonna associate something technical with my experience. Okay. So this case, Blob Storage. So I have a experience where I used S3 in web applications. So yeah, so right now I'm going to speak about the experience. That is when I worked at first company. When I was in my second or third year after graduation, in my first 2-3 years as a new graduate. When I was in my second or third year after graduation, I used S3 at my first job. Yeah. And where we develop the web application that estimates the cost of manufacturer parts. I want to have a review. I want AI to review it. So where which that manufacture parts. The users can get estimation by uploading 3D CAD files to it on the web. When I was in my second or third year after graduation, I used S3 at my first job. Where we developed a web application to estimate the cost of manufacturing parts. Users could obtain estimates by uploading CAD files through the web interface. Yeah, and then I want to associate it with these topics Blob Stretch. So why use S3? So I should talk about these things to reveal my knowledge. So S3 can provide durability, scalability, cost efficiency, and security. And how was about this? It's not that it was not directly from the client. Yeah. So I have to be able to explain why the application didn't use S3 directly. I can explain it because the application needed to do some pre-processing to the file. So for example, dividing files into some parts, so it didn't use S3 directly from the client. Chunking, I think, yeah, chunking is used. Security, I'm not sure. Cost, scalability, durability, yeah. And in this case, the article compares with traditional database, so I think it's obvious, but I might as well mention about it. Uh, mm, it might be better. It might be better. Maybe I should mention it. Yeah. So might as well is not the nuance. A different nuance. I might as well mention about it. Okay. Yeah. So let's assume the question. Have you tell me your experience where you use blob storage. When I was in my second or third year after graduation, I used S3 at my first job, where we develop web application that estimates costs of manufacture parts. Oh, this is the correct sentence. When I was in my second or third year after graduation, I used S3 at my first job, where we develop a web application to estimate the cost of manufacturing parts. Users could obtain estimates by uploading CAD files through the web interfaces. And why? It's because we have to store a lot of files, so compared with a traditional database, the blob storage provides us durability and scalability and cost efficiency. So it's rational. It's a rational. durability, scalability, cost. Compared with takes long latency. No. The global storage and doesn't have a structure and relation. We have to store a lot of files which use blob storage compared to a traditional database. It gives us durability, scalability, and cost. The downside, though, is that blob storage doesn't provide structure or relationships. Compared to okay. When I was in my second or third year after graduation, I used S3 at my first job, where we develop a web application to estimate the cost of manufacturing parts. And users could obtain estimations of parts through web interfaces by uploading CAD files through web interfaces. Tell me why you choose blob storage and its advantages and disadvantages. Because we had to store a lot of files, we chose blob storage compared to a traditional database. It gives us durability, scalability, and cost efficiency. The downside, though, is that blob storage doesn't provide structure or relationships. As a related topic, I should be able to explain about pre-signed URL. Tell me, explain. Explain about pre-signed URL. Pre-signed URL is the URL that is provided by blob storage before uploading the files. The typical architecture is like this. The user wants to upload a large binary files, so the request pre-signed URL. The server request to S3 a blob storage and get a pre-signed URL, and the server record it to a database as a metadata, and also returns the returns pre-signed URL to the client, and the client can use the URL to upload the files, and the client can upload the file directly to blob storage. This is the process for uploading, and when downloading, the client requests a specific file from the server and return the So the client, when downloading, the client requests a specific file to the server, and the server returns a URL. The server can return a corresponding URL because the metadata is recorded in the database. Yeah, and yeah, the client can get the URL and just access the URL directly. Client uses the pre-signed URL to download the file via CDN, which proxies the request to the underlying. I had better mention CDN. Okay. Hmm. Is a URL that is provided by blob storage before. I feel like less information. Pre-assigned URL is issue. Just before. Yep. Yes. And a request, user request to upload a file. Request to uploading. User requests to upload a file to server. Server gets pre-signed URL from browser storage and then records it to a database as a metadata and returns it to the user. So user can upload the file to blob storage. URL directory. User can upload the file directory to blob storage with pre-signed URL. Is the when downloading the file, user server returns the URL can return the corresponding URL so the URL is stored in a database. Then user can get the file. Pre-signed URL is basically a special link that the blob storage issues right before you upload a file. Here is how it usually works. A user wants to upload a file, so they send a request to the server. The server then asks the blob storage it has changed a lot. A user wants to upload a file, so then send a request to the server. The server then asks the blob storage for a pre-signed URL, saves that URL as a metadata in the database, and send it back to the user. With that pre-signed URL, the user can upload the file directly to blob storage without the server acting as a middleman. For downloading, the flow is similar. The user requests the file from the server, and since the server already has a pre-signed URL stored in the database, it can return that URL to the user. Then the user can download the file directly from Groove. Okay. Okay, it's finished. Yeah, so today I learned about Blob Stretch, and I changed the way to practice. I tried to associate with my experience, and I assume the questions from interviewers. Yeah, so I think this is better training for me. So I will go with this from tomorrow. Yeah. Yes, not bad. And yeah, so I have to increase what I can explain. Yes, so this is good. Okay. See